it's been so awesome going back in. I mean, I just felt like I had more to give. And I mean, gosh, it's like, I do think that we need it right now as well.
Wow. But wait, now how old are you?
I knew that was coming. You know,
You're still relatively young.
no, not compared to these kids, like I'm 37. I'm old enough, like these kids love to point out to me. I was in some training over the summer and they love to point out to me that I was old enough. I was older than their mom. So,
Wait, so it still sounds very young to me. But so is there an age limit on when you can re-enlist in the reserves?
no, like what happened is I was speaking to these Marines like I do quite a bit. I go around and I love to talk to leadership, to these, NCOs, which is kind of like our mid-level leaders inside of the military. And I was speaking to this group and this kid stood up to me and he goes, knowing what I'm kind of at this point of re-enlistment. And he said, knowing what like I have a family, you have a family, like, is it still worth serving? And I was like, absolutely. And I could just tell that that probably didn't come off right. And I felt terrible about it because I'm telling them that it's worth them serving is I'm going to go home and I'm not having to meet any standards. My family's not having to sacrifice of what this country's asking. And I felt like it was one of the most unbecoming things that I had said. And so I looked at him and I said, you know what? Like, I'm so glad this question got asked. I'm going to walk out of here and I'm going to do everything I can to come back in the Marine Corps because it's not right for me to stand out here and tell you, yes, it's worth serving. Yes, it matters. And all of this as I'm going home and not having to sacrifice anything that you are. And I'm asking your family to. So I don't think it's right. And I'm going to make this right. And I'm going to show you how much I believe in serving. And so I did that. I walked away, 18 months later, jumping through all the hoops and all that. Yeah. Like I didn't have to get an age waiver or anything like that. I was just able to re-enlist and I was able to come back in and continue my service. And yeah, I mean, and in the reserve side of
Wow.
it.
Okay, now you will forgive me for asking you this because we've talked about this before, and I know how you are on this. There was a period at which it's fair to say you had let your tight physique as a Marine go.
Yeah.
We talked about when you were awarded the Medal of Honor by President Obama, and you were actually drunk in the moment and not in your peak shape. Actually, we'll just show it because it's quite a moment.
You're
This
going
is
to do
a
this to
video
me?
of it. Yeah, back in 2011. Hold on, let's watch it. Stand by. Here he is. You're standing there. You cannot tell that you're drunk, but you told me that you were. And you are not at your most fit, but I know from our behind the scenes conversations, you have been getting fit. You've been working out like a fiend. So do you feel that you can live up to the Pete Hegseth no fat people mandate in the modern day military?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Look, I have to meet all the standards. Going back in, one of the first things I had to do was meet the physical fitness standards. I will say this: while a lot of the other branches possibly have let the standards go, the one thing that the United States Marine Corps does is it holds standards pretty well. I mean, we usually the Marine Corps usually sets the standards and holds the standards to a level that none of the other branches do. And I will say that confidently. And so, yeah, I mean, coming back in, like I've had to meet all the standards that everybody else did. Just literally 2 weeks ago, I had to meet the biannual fitness standard, the fitness standard, the combat fitness test. I got height and weight. I got taped. I got all of it. So I'm meeting my good friend Pete's standards.
Nice. Okay, good. I say this judging from the comfort of my studio where it's been literally a year since I've done anything meaningfully aerobic. So no judgment whatsoever. In fact, I'd like to know what that test is so I could see if I could pass it.
Well, I'll come with
Okay, let's keep
you.
going because
Let's do it.
there's
I'll
been,
come to you and we'll run it.
yeah, go, you go.
I'll come to you and we'll run it together.
Well, what do I have to do?
Well,
What
which one do you
what
want to
is
do?
it?
So the phys-
What are my
so the
goals?
physical fitness test to get 100 at but my age, it's a 3 mile run. 18 minutes is perfect. And then you go into pull-ups, 21 pull-ups, 24. The younger kids have to do 24, but at my age, I get to do 21 dead hang pull-ups. And then we do a 3 minute and 45-second plank, which is the physical fitness test, the combat fitness test.
Okay, I can do
Yeah.
that. I can do the plank.
Okay. Well,
That's it. I certainly can't do a pull-up. I can't even do one pull-up and a dead hang pull-up. I mean, in no world. I know where this is a controversy, but do the women have to do all that too?
I don't know. Like, this has been another dynamic that I don't know. I don't know what the standards are for the female side of it. I've never had to beat them. So I don't know. And so I would,
I mean, I think Pete said months ago, we're not changing, we're not having two standards for men and women. Like if you want to be a Marine, you're going to have to do what the men do as the women, which I'm fine with. I mean, there are some women who can do it. There are some real badasses who work on their upper body strength. I just happen to have none. So I'm not on the list, but I'm going to work on that 3.5 miles in 18
3
minutes.
miles.
That seems like something I could potentially do. Okay, 3 miles in 18 minutes. And I can definitely do a plank for 3 minutes and 45 seconds. That I can do. And then the pull-ups, no. Are there sit-up requirements? Those I could do.
No, there used to be 100 crunches in under 2 minutes.
How about push-ups?
So no, we don't do push-ups in the Marine Corps.
Dang.
Yeah.
This is like that's the hardest thing is the pull-ups. Okay,
Everybody
we got to keep
gets to be a
going.
Marine.
Let's talk about the controversy involving the Seditious Six, as the Pentagon has labeled them, and this whole bit about how you shouldn't follow an illegal order, and it's ongoing now. The Pentagon, while it threatened Senator Mark Kelly with a possible inquiry, they said they'd opened one into whether he had committed some sort of breach of protocol in joining in this video and trying to advise troops to get ready to disobey an order from the commander-in-chief in case it's illegal, even though that's technically something that soldiers are already told. Where do you stand on it? How did you see that video, and how did you see the Pentagon's response?
Well, context matters. I think we're not talking about an isolated statement. We're talking about, months of them. I mean, okay, well, yes, that right there was calculated. It was, it is like that statement. There's nothing wrong technically with that statement, but what the intentions are of that statement is exactly what cannot be ignored or denied. I mean, they have gone months of calling legal acts illegal, right? They're not the law. Like they make the laws, but they don't execute and they don't hold the laws. I mean, that's why we have a system that does it, right? And just because you don't like it doesn't mean that it's illegal. And just because you don't agree with it doesn't mean that it's illegal, right? And so I think that whenever you put this into context and take it out of just an isolated event, you have to add up everything else that comes with that. And so I think that, look, I mean, what they're doing is they're trying to undermine the institution. They're putting a responsibility all the way down. I mean, and if they truly believed that it was illegal, they would go through the legal routes and they wouldn't be making this a spectacle out on, on the news, right? Like the intentions are very clear. And so I think that their intentions are what we have got to take into consideration in this. And I think they have to be held accountable, because let me say this, I would expect them to be held accountable. I mean, they're not even being held accountable. What happens whenever a court system is ruling what we are doing as far as the National Guard or all of this, that it is legal and they have called it illegal? Who do you blame whenever somebody stands up because they believe these trusted leaders are supposed to be trusted leaders, and
who have sown doubt,
so
unjustifiably.
Who becomes the problem? Is it the person that says it or the person that believed the person who was in the position, right? Like who becomes who's held accountable? And so I think it's a huge issue.
Yeah, and it's not resolved yet. I started the segment by mentioning what's happening in Venezuela. Now Trump trying to stop these oil tankers from going to and from Venezuela. He's been hitting the drug boats to and from Venezuela. There have been many, many speculations about whether this is all really about regime change, because technically Maduro lost an election, but he's just refusing to go. A lot of the more isolationist right, they don't want to see us getting involved in Venezuela. They do not want to exchange war in the Middle East for war south of the border with Venezuela. Trump denies it's about regime change, though he doesn't deny it that forcefully. And Susie Wiles seems to have suggested that's what this is about in her interview with Vanity Fair. So how do you see the issue of what we're doing in Venezuela?
Look, I think we're trying to make these things too complicated. My question to you is this, and this is really what I care about. Do you think any of those, are we going to argue back and forth? Do you think the boats that we are hitting and we are taking lethal action on, do we think that they have drugs on them?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, then what does it matter? I mean, at any point, at what point are we going? Why do we look? As long as we are protecting America, that is all that should matter. If we believe that those boats have drugs on them and those drugs are coming to the United States of America, we should kill every one of them. It's that simple. I think we're trying to complex this, and I think that we are just getting into this. We haven't gone into Venezuela. We haven't done anything. We are sitting here. We're making statements. We're drawing lines, and we're putting America first. And so we're putting America's interests first. Like, what is wrong with that? And I don't understand why we're arguing about this. And what I am so sick and tired of, because look, I have a Medal of Honor because of this. I have a Medal of Honor because of specific statements like the insinuations and the fear that someone like Mark Kelly is doing in the Democrats. And no, you know what? Take the Democrats out of it. Just leaders. I have a Medal of Honor for these simple facts. And this is why I'm so pissed off about it, is because they send us over there. They're like, we don't make the decisions on who we're going to go fight and who we don't. But then they send us over there and they put in their, idealistic rules of engagement. And then they put the fear of taking action into it. And they put all of these like seeds of doubt into the people who are having to live and die from the consequences of their decisions and their actions or their lack of, all for their political gain. And it's not the part of us dying and going and fighting for America is not what we get pissed about. It's the sheer fact that they send us over there and then they try to make us question our decisions. And then at any point that some of these policies and rules of engagement, like in my case, they want to protect the place and the other people more than they want to protect the troops that they sent over there to do the fighting. And so when you go back to this Venezuela thing, I think like everybody's trying to fill in a bunch of hypotheticals. And let's sit back. Look, at the end of the day, like, do we all know somebody who is taking drugs and who has lost their life and whose family members are losing people and all this aspect? I mean, let's talk about it. I mean, like, I think that no matter what, if you are here to harm America, if you are here to hurt Americans, we should never put anything above that. And you are an enemy, period.
There are a lot of politicians that should be getting coal in their stocking for Christmas, but Birch Gold thinks, as a smart planner, you deserve silver. That's why for every $5,000 you purchase between now and December 22nd, Birch Gold will send you an ounce of silver, which is up over 60% this year. See, smart people diversify and have a hedge. That's why you should consider Birch Gold. With the rate cuts from the Fed in 2026, the dollar could be worth less. And what happens if the AI bubble bursts? Consider letting Birch Gold Group help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. And for every $5,000 you buy, you will get an ounce of silver for you or your kids. Just text MK to the number 989898 to claim your eligibility for this offer. Again, text MK to 989898 because Birch Gold's free silver with qualifying purchase promotion ends on December 22nd. Message and data rates may apply. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.